I'm not quite sure how to follow our previous two speakers with some inspirational stories about what they face in comparison to the Global Poverty Project, which I represent. As Anita mentioned, our mission and vision is to change in extreme poverty within our generation, and we want to do that by building networks of effective people to take action. The networks we build are in the developed world mostly, and so our campaigns and our challenges are focused to a youth demographic that's probably similar but different to what some of you in the audience probably have back at home. And so we target, as I said, those who believe and share in our vision. Studies show that this is about 30 to 40% of the population, and generally 18 to 35-year-olds, but also adolescents. And the key that we have, and we don't run specific campaigns to raise awareness about HIV, but what we do is work and partner with organisations like the Global Fund to ensure that the population here in Australia understands the need for why we need to fund organisations like that to ensure that the important work that they do, and also highlight the important work they do and the need and the possibilities that we can achieve with effective funding and effective campaigns. So for us, the challenge in our key demographics, and again, this would be something I would say that would be similar for young people across the world, they're usually time poor. There's usually information overload, and we're usually busy. So for us, the challenge is how do we grab someone's attention to put in front of them the issues that we wanted to do in this environment. And, they're not the most sexiest of issues. At the moment, we're campaigning on open defecation. We're about to launch a campaign around immunisation funding and to get our government to increase that. So how do you get young people engaged in what are very large topics and serious topics? So we use a particular vehicle, and social campaigning is that, and that's our website. We've developed a concept called a global citizen. And for us, a global citizen is someone who thinks locally but acts globally, which fits into the messages and our mission to end poverty. And we use 4 things to try and achieve this. So we engage and provide engaging and informative educational content. We encourage effective actions. We provide rewards, thank yous. One of the things we find in the NGO community here is that we're very good at asking a lot of our supporters, but we're very bad sometimes to saying thank you. So we try and incorporate that in the campaigns that we build. And above all, we try and build a network of a thriving community of global citizens who care about these issues and who can go back out into the community, into their networks, and talk about this with passion and with belief. They do this by signing up to our website, by taking the actions we upload on there, so simple things like tweeting our politicians to more harder asks, like going in to see into their local school or to their local community or their local church and talking about these issues. We then, of course, reward them via various things, and I'll get to that reward first. But what I want to focus is on how do you get their attention and how do you bring them through the door first? We use ambassadors. So we're very lucky enough this year to have a concert in Central Park, and there's some headline acts. Now, having headline acts also helps, but they also do something for us that is even better, which is they inform their followers and their supporters about what we're doing and try and engage them and help us get them to walk through the door that we want them to walk through with these campaigns. So, for example, on Friday for Mandela Day, we had Hugh Jackman, who has 4.3 million Twitter followers, tweet out to his audience asking those of his followers in New York to come out, meet Kwaku Mandela and talk about and learn about extreme poverty so that we could get them down this journey and the pathway. Same with One Direction, and we're also lucky enough to have a partnership with Sesame Street and talk about open defecation and the importance of why we need to address this issue. But once you've got them through the door in terms of social media campaigning, that's the first challenge. The second challenge is retaining them and getting them to come back. And that's where we engage creative content. So as young people, we try and write, we try and develop cool, quirky things, both through our online platforms and Facebook and social media, as well as our website, to attract them and get them to come back. And perhaps the best way to explain this is through a story. And it's Sarah's story. Sarah's a young girl who's 15. You wouldn't say there's anything exceptional about her. She wasn't academically gifted, she wasn't trying at school, she's just an ordinary 15-year-old. But Sarah saw a tweet from One Direction one day in April saying, go to this website called globalcitizen.org, sign up and you can possibly win a ticket to come and see our concert. In order to win that ticket, Sarah had to go through and look at our content and learn a little bit more about our issues. Things around sexual and reproductive rights, things around world hunger and poverty and what we were campaigning on at that time, as well as some of our immunisation campaigns. Sarah learnt this, watched the videos, took some of those actions, got enough points, entered the draw and went and watched One Direction. But then she sent us an email after that. And she told us she found it moving. She didn't realise what she knew already, that she didn't realise she cared. She said to us, I learnt that before I knew I was a global citizen, I was a global citizen. She reflected on the personal challenges that her family had gone through at a period in which her family had fallen into poverty when both their parents lost their jobs, the hardships she felt. And taking that journey through our website, learning the content, helped her understand the issues that she cared about. And she's now one of our ambassadors who goes around her local community, not only helping us take the message about why we need to do the things that we ask of our communities, but she's also volunteering in a local group to try and address some poverty and hunger issues that exist in her local community. And she's still there. She sent us an email over the weekend in which she said, again, I'm so proud to have done what I've done. I tell people what I'm doing, and they're really proud because before I got to them, they had no idea about these issues around the world. And at the moment, I'm loving it. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I guess Sarah's story reflects what we try and do and what everyone does in the social media environment, is that the campaign techniques we utilise aren't that different to the old school grassroots campaigning. They simply merely allow us to reach a broader audience in a more creative way. It's not a magic bullet, but it's one that is an important tool amongst many. And I guess I draw on the lessons, and perhaps my colleague Nicholas, who's following me, is probably better qualified to talk about this than I am, but I draw on the lessons of how Australia approached the AIDS epidemic in the 80s and 90s, and grassroots and community organisations were a very key part of that. And the campaign tools that they organised and utilised on the ground were very important to obviously educating and reaching target populations and making them aware about HIV/AIDS. And for us, obviously we don't tackle that issue, but we do tackle some important issues around the world, and we utilise those campaigns, but just more of an online environment. And I think that's the key to social media and reaching them. So if there's two concluding points I'd say is, find ambassadors, find people who can help you open that door to reach that audience, because it's difficult. And there is a way that social media can do that for you. Sometimes, obviously, I'm privileged enough in some ways to campaign to a mainstream audience, so my ambassadors are easier to find. But once you've got those ambassadors and you've got them through the door, keeping them, the content is really important. So drawing some of the lessons that Gautam and Sulesi said, campaigns and content that actually talk to them, not talk about them, and so that they feel ownership is also important. And that's what we try and do. So I guess that they're the broader social and media campaigning lessons that we've learnt here at the Global Poverty Project, and it's an ongoing thing. And the last point is, the great thing about social media is you can always fail. And in failing you learn, because you need to know what didn't work so that you can work it out next time. So I guess that's me. Thank you.